to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. I hope you find this video and podcast helpful. If you need some help, please feel free to call us at 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations in many areas of law, and we have several geographic locations for your convenience. We serve all of Illinois, and we're also happy to meet with you and provide most legal services virtually without requiring you to leave your home. Enjoy the video.
Hi everyone, this is Matt with Learn About Law, and in this video I'm going to discuss what is a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust and how does it work. When an applicant has excess assets, Medicaid Asset Protection Trusts may be a useful planning tool for meeting the asset cap. Simply put, these trusts prevent an applicant's assets from being counted against Medicaid eligibility. This form of trust allows someone who may otherwise be Medicaid ineligible to become Medicaid eligible and receive the treatment they need, whether at home or in a nursing home. The assets in this form of trust are no longer considered the applicant's property. MAPTs also safeguard properties for one's children and other family, making them a win-win situation for Medicaid applicants and their families. Medicaid Asset Protection Trusts are also known as Medicaid Planning Trusts, Medicaid Trusts, or Home Protection Trusts informally. It is crucial to realize that there are many forms of trusts, and not all of them are Medicaid compliant. For example, family trusts, known as revocable living trusts, are not the same as MAPTs, since the trust wording makes it revocable, meaning the trust may be revoked or altered, or allows money in the trust to be used for the Medicaid applicant's long-term care expenses. Family trusts are generally ineffective in shielding money and assets from Medicaid. As a result, in order to qualify for Medicaid, funds in this form of trust will have to be spent down to reach the asset cap. So, what are the benefits of a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust? While each state's Medicaid program follows federal guidelines, there is wiggle room under those broader guidelines for each state to set its own rules. In general, an elderly person applying for long-term Medicaid has $2,000 asset cap for qualifying purposes. However, depending on the state in which one lives, this asset cap could be lower or higher. Although certain higher value properties, such as a primary home, a motorcycle, and wedding rings are normally considered excluded, uncountable, many applicants are already over the asset cap but unable to afford their care. As a result, any funds in the excess of the asset cap must be spent down, or a planning strategy, such as a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust, implemented to help the applicant qualify for the care they need. Thanks for watching. To learn more, check out our article linked below. Be sure to leave any questions you have in the comments and subscribe for more legal content daily.
Hello again, this is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. I hope you enjoyed the video and podcast. If you did, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to our channel. If you need legal help in this or any other area of law, please do not hesitate to reach out and schedule a consultation. Most consultations are free and all can be conducted remotely if you'd like. Please email us, book online, or call us at 630-324-6666. We have many locations for your convenience and we serve all of Illinois. So thanks again for watching.